Hello, ladies. Apologize for my tardiness. Okay, I apologize. If I could get somebody to comment for me, just so I can see if I'm able to see comments. And also let me know if the background music is too loud. Today's just been a day. I'm attending class online while trying to do a live, and my learning site crashed out on me and I'm not able to regain access to it. I have 3 devices that I'm trying to do all of this on. Alright, can I get y'all to pop something in the comments? I'm not seeing them currently. Hey, alright, I see them now. Yeah, it's been a weird day, Billy Joe. Very weird day. I was a little late, Angie. I was about 10 minutes late trying to get everything figured out after my learning site crashed on me for my schooling. I'm trying to go to school, do my live, and do notes all at the same time from 3 different devices. So I apologize for my tardiness and not being prepared. Hello, Patience. Hi, Billy Joe. Hi, Tammy. Hey, if I can be that reason, I'm happy to be that. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, Christy. All right, so the first part of this live is going to be more informational while I gather my supplies. Also, could somebody let me know if the background music is too loud or annoying so I can adjust that? So yeah, like I was saying, the very first part of this is going to be purely informational. And rather than look at me, because I am a hot mess, I've been outside cleaning my pool and gardening all day, so I am a literal mess. I figured I would bless your eyes with this perfection. Felt it was pretty appropriate as well, given the fact that I am going to talk about how to call upon Hecate. As you all know, everybody pronounces her name differently. Hecate, Hecate, what have you. You call to her or pronounce her name as you see fit. She may want you to pronounce it one particular way compared to how somebody else may pronounce it. All right. Hello, Ellen. All right. So, a little bit of background about Hecate. She is the queen of the crossroads, mistress of magic, as some people may call her. Keeper of keys, and she is known as the no-nonsense CEO of the witchy world. If you're looking for coddles and good vibes, she's not the deity for you. But if you are ready to roll up your sleeves, light some candles, and maybe scare your neighbors, Hecate is your gal. She doesn't dabble, she commands. And trust me, you don't want to summon her casually unless you enjoy the idea of candles mysteriously refusing to light. So why is Hecate the ultimate witch's deity? As I said, she's the CEO of witchcraft. She essentially invented magic. Shadow work is her middle name. And when it comes to necromancy, she has ghosts on speed dial. If there's a witchy operation happening, you can bet Hecate signed off on it first. I love to scare my neighbors. I don't have a fence in my backyard. No worries, Alyssa. I'm actually just getting started. I was a little bit late myself. I don't have a fence in my backyard, and my coven and I do rituals in my backyard. I have a little stone table that we usually set up an altar on right underneath my willow tree, and then I have my fire pit right there as well. So we usually do a lot of our rituals around the fire or around the stone table that we create an altar on. And we have had many of people drive by and stop and stare when we're doing our thing. So I love to do it, and I love to see the look on their faces as well. No worries, Ronnie. Be safe driving. So Hecate is the original multitasker. She works with the past, present, and the future. Or if you need help with all three realms at once, she, again, is your gal. She's fierce AF. I'm not going to swear. I don't want to offend anybody. She is extremely fierce. She's not here for excuses. She'll light the way, but you absolutely need to keep up with her. If you're lost at the crossroads, it's not her fault you forgot the map. Now, some tips on how to call. Reading comments, 1 second. Start putting some stuff on their steps at night and see how they like that, Kelly. So just as a heads up, this live is going to have a little bit of sass and a little bit of smart ass in it. I apologize if that's not for you. I'm trying to be a little more lighthearted with the informational aspect of lives. So I'm trying to add some spice into the way that information is delivered. No worries. Just catching on comments. My goodness. That is true. Watch for cameras or you can make a bad problem worse. No worries, no worries. All right. So let's talk about how to call upon Hecate without embarrassing yourself. So this particular ritual is called the Crossroads of Power. It should be done at night and at a crossroads. But unfortunately, it's not nighttime and I'm not sitting at a crossroads currently. Good thing about where I live is right at my neighbor's house is a crossroads. And it is a 4-way crossroads. There happens to be an area that has a little bit of a woodsy type area right at the corner that I like to do rituals at when I am calling for Hecate that calls for working at the crossroads. 90% of my workings I tend to do right here. I have everything readily available to me, and this is her space. When it comes to doing work at the crossroads, which I will eventually do a live on that as well, I will take you guys out there with me. It will be a late night type of live. I will take you guys out there with me and show you how to properly work at the crossroads if you want to actually go to a crossroads and do a ritual for her at the crossroads. Just checking comments and we will continue. Well, hopefully, Ronnie, everything turned out all right. I had an issue with one of my neighbors who threatened to kill my cats, and that didn't fare out too well for him. He has since remodeled his house, and it is currently on the market since our very first encounter. He is in a jar behind my altar, just an FYI. Don't threaten to kill my animals, because I got something for you. You're good, Erica. You might need to just close out of everything and come back in. Or disconnect from your Wi-Fi if you are connected from your Wi-Fi. I notice that happens sometimes. Angie, I am Northeast Ohio. I live in the city, but I am the only person in my entire neighborhood that decorates for the holidays, especially Halloween. So typically, Ronnie, when you're working at the crossroads, it should be, you should have to travel to it. Ideally, it would be in the middle of nowhere, dirt roads, nothing around you is the ideal spot to work at the crossroads. However, we live in a world where that's not exactly feasible to go and do such a thing, or we just don't live in that type of area where we can do that. So we make do with what we have. The important part of all of it is making sure that that crossroads is dedicated to Hecate. So if you want to use your crossroads in your backyard for her, make sure that you dedicate that crossroads to her prior to doing so. I have actually done a little ritual at my crossroads out here letting her know that this is my space for her when I do work at the crossroads. So yes, it could be in your own backyard. However, your driveway for a crossroads, that don't count. Just an FYI, the driveway don't count. Yeah, I will absolutely work on doing a crossroads ritual. Again, it would be late at night after dark, and with it being summertime, it doesn't get dark until about 10 p.m.-ish. 10:30 is when it's pretty decently dark. So I will figure that one out. And I am also Eastern Standard Time, so I know everybody else is in different time zones. So I will do my best to work that one out. It doesn't necessarily need to be wooded, Erica. As long as it's a crossroads, it can either be a 3 or a 4-way crossroads. Yes, Billy Joe, I want to move away. We both want to move away out into the country. Maybe down there in your neck of the woods. Yes, ma'am, Kelly, I agree with you completely. He has lived in a jar since the day he threatened to kill my cats. We had a couple of indoor-outdoor cats, and when he bought this house, it was trash. They weren't mowing the grass. They had windows, basement windows blown out, and my outdoor cats would go down through his basement windows into that basement. We ended up having some issues. He locked some dogs inside of the house in the summer. I called the dog warden. He also chained up a puppy on his porch, again in the middle of summer, with no food and no water. We're pretty sure he was possibly growing and selling drugs out of the house next to us. So it was a lot of problems. He actually pulled up in front of my house with a little chihuahua on his lap and a handgun in his passenger seat. And he said to me, "You don't want to mess with me, I've got guns." Well, I looked at him and said, "Ha, I've got some too. You want to play? Let's play." So that night, I did a nice little ritual specifically for him. And he has been in a jar behind my altar since that day about 3 years ago. And he has since finally improved the property, and it is on the market. I don't play about my animals. My animals, my family, my friends, I don't play. Alright, just checking through. I love the amount of daylight that we have right now, Kelly. It doesn't matter that it's asphalt, Erica. I promise you, it don't matter. He was a very, very, very vile person, Ellen. Absolutely vile, horrible person. No worries, Atina. I think I handled him for now. Absolutely, they depend on us. Yeah, I agree 100%. Angie. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on with the actual ritual itself. Again, this is called the Crossroads of Power. This isn't your average let's light a candle and hope for the best situation. Calling Hecate requires intention, respect, and maybe just a little flair for the dramatics. So what we're going to need tonight, this evening, I should say, we are going to need 3 black candles. because one candle doesn't really say that we're serious. So we're going to use 3. And 3 is one of Hecate's sacred numbers. So here we have our 3 candles. I'm going to lay those here on my altar plate for now. We are also going to need a key, which is symbolic of wisdom, but also practical because she is the keeper of keys. Now, this is where I need your help. I have 2 keys. I'm going to hold them in view of the camera, and I would like you guys to vote on which key we're going to use for this ritual. So we have here, this is A, and this is B. So I'll give it a second. Let's see. A. And B. We're at a tie right now, 4-4. Christy, you broke the tiebreaker. We are going with A. However, we're going to take B, and we're going to leave it here on her altar as another offering for her. Well, let's do this instead. I have skeleton keys all over my altar for her. I find new ones all the time, and they are just for her. They're in my path, and I love that because I feel like that's her saying, I'm here, here I am. Okay, so here we have choice A. It is small, it is rusted, and it is perfect. So we're going to set that here as well. Next, we are going to need honey. Even goddesses appreciate a sweet treat, and she absolutely deserves it. Just so I don't make a mess, I use honey sticks as an offering instead of actually using honey. Every once in a while, I do like to use an actual honeycomb, and I will leave it for her, and then I eat it at the end of my ritual. So we're going to use a honey stick today. I'm going to set that on the altar plate as well. Sorry about that. Whoops. All right. And then next we are going to need garlic or bay leaves. I typically like to use bay leaves. This is to keep spiritual freeloaders from crashing the ritual. I have some pretty massive bay leaves here, so I'm only going to take one. Again, pretty large bay leaf. We're going to set it there because I'm going to end up breaking that up. And then next, you're going to need a torch, lantern, or flashlight. You can use any sort of flame, honestly. I'm just going to use a lighter for tonight. If I were actually doing this at the crossroads, I have an actual lantern that I would be using at the crossroads. Okay. And then typically, again, you would want to have a quiet space at night to do this. All right, so you want to set up your space. Since I'm doing mine here at my altar, it's already set. We are going to arrange our candles into a triangle. And I'm going to arrange them on my altar plate. So give me just a second while I get these lit and placed. So I take these, if you've seen me previously, maybe not that one, a little bit. I melt the bottoms so they will stick to my altar plate. We'll do this. There's one. Two. And I'm going to do this way while I put this third one on. Going to be right here at the full moon, which is suitable as well. Full moons are a great time to do work with Hecate. All right, so there we have our 3 black candles in a triangle. Then we're going to put the key and the honey in the center. And then we're going to sprinkle either the garlic or bay leaves around, kind of like we're just adding a bit of seasoning to the ritual. So in no particular order, no particular place. So essentially this is just placement of your honey and your key. because you're going to utilize them. I'm going to check comments. I do not grow garlic, patience. Hi, Serenity. No worries. Thank you, ladies. My altar plate is one of my favorite pieces in my practice. All right, now we are going to light the candles, and as we light them, we are going to say, Hecate, Queen of the Crossroads, Keeper of Keys, illuminate my path and guide me through the shadows. You say that with each candle you light. Hecate, Keeper of Keys, Queen of the Crossroads, illuminate my path and guide me through the shadows. Hecate, Keeper of Keys, Queen of the Crossroads, illuminate my path and guide me through the shadows. Now we are going to offer the honey. If you're using honey that's not in a stick, just resist the urge to taste it. We're going to place this in front of the candles. So we're going to put it here. So it is in front of the candles. And as you do this, you want to say, Hecate, I offer this in gratitude and respect. May your wisdom flow through me as I walk the path of power. And now you're going to call upon her with a chant. Don't say this chant like you're reciting a play or your shopping list. Say it with conviction, and you're going to say it 3 times. Hecate, Keeper of Keys, Goddess of Night, hear my pleas. With torches bright and wisdom deep, guide my steps, my soul to keep. Hecate, Keeper of Keys, Goddess of Night, hear my pleas. With torches bright and wisdom deep, guide my steps, my soul to keep. Hecate, Keeper of Keys, Goddess of Night, hear my pleas. With torches bright and wisdom deep, guide my steps, my soul to keep. Now you want to grab your key. Hold the key, close your eyes, and visualize Hecate standing at the crossroads. If the candles flicker or you feel a chill, you've got her attention. So we're going to give it just a minute. Keep an eye on those candles. I'm going to close my eyes. we're going to go ahead and move forward. At this point, you want to thank her. The ritual is essentially complete. So you want to thank her by saying, "Thank you, Hecate, for your guidance and presence. I honor you and walk with your light." And that is the end of the ritual. If you are actually doing this at the crossroads, do not ever walk away with your back turned. You want to walk backwards until you can no longer see the crossroads in your immediate view. So that is the ritual. Again, I will create a live more in depth on working at the crossroads, working with Hecate at the crossroads, the do's and the don'ts, and so forth. So be looking for that one. I can't say exactly when I will execute that live, but it will definitely happen. I am going to let these burn. Obviously, if you are burning inside, you want to practice fire safety. Make sure you're not leaving burning candles unattended. And then to finish off with a little bit more information on her while my candles burn. Sorry about that. Some other offerings that Hecate actually likes. Obviously, honey. It's classic, sweet, and a definite yes. Garlic, practical, protective, and witch approved. Keys, symbolic and meaningful. Just don't use your car keys. Torches or candles, black, white, or red. Eggs, life, rebirth, and biodegradable. It's a win-win. Wine or mead, because she deserves a toast. Where you can leave offerings. At a crossroads. This is her sacred space. And no, the intersection at Starbucks does not count. I encourage you to absolutely do so, Kelly. You can also leave offerings on your altar. Dedicate a space just for her. Do not share space with another deity when it comes to Hecate. She needs her own space. You can also leave offerings for her in nature, but you want to make sure that these are biodegradable things like honey and herbs or eggshells where they won't harm the environment or wildlife. And then just to finish off, some people may ask, why is Hecate worth it? Hecate doesn't just show up for just anyone. She's for witches who are serious about their craft, ready to embrace their shadows, and not afraid of a little or maybe a lot of power. If you're looking for a goddess who will guide you, challenge you, and maybe scare the hell out of you in the best way, Hecate is it. So, light the candles, grab the honey, and show her you mean business. She's not just a goddess, she's a force of nature. And trust me, you want her on your side. The crossroads are waiting, so what are you waiting for? Any questions, comments, thoughts, ladies? It just depends on the deity, honestly, Patience. But with Hecate, she's a selfish deity, and she likes to have her own space. She doesn't like to share. People who don't know, Kelly, that's who. Me personally, Patience, I feel like every deity should have their own space, even if it's not a large space. I feel like every single deity deserves to have their own altar that is just for them. My main deity is Hecate. I work with her for pretty much everything. So my altar for her is pretty large. I have quite a space set up for her. Because she is who I work with the most. And she loves it. She absolutely loves the space that I have set up for her. Sorry, I am trying to readjust my camera now that I moved it. There, that should do. Yes, ma'am. Christy, you are absolutely right. Of course, I apologize for the reschedules. Life has been hectic and crazy for me the last few weeks. But I appreciate y'all being flexible with my issues. Yes, the giant key. I have the giant key over here, and then I have the set of keys over here. Whoops. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you, Ellen. All right, ladies, that's all I have for you for this live. I will be working on getting that Crossroads live together. I'm not going to wait until November because it's too cold in November to go out and sit at the Crossroads for an extended period of time. So it will definitely be something that is done prior to November. I actually bought it off of a small business lady. I've not even been able to find one like it ever since. And I have looked. I have multiple altars that I wanted to use that plate for, but it has been dedicated to Hecate, so it is hers. You are welcome. I hope you all enjoy what's left of your evening. I'm going to go enjoy what's left of my anniversary night with my hubby. I have to be at work early in the morning, class. So all the stuffs. Blessed be, ladies. Have a great night and stay safe.